Okay, welcome back, mathematicians. We are going to be in Eureka Math Lesson 2. You should have gotten this sheet from your teacher. If you did not, you need to ask them for it so that you can follow along and complete this work along with me. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to read this example. And we're going to write a number above each sentence to show the order of events. So the first thing we're going to do is just read it to get a handle on what this event is or what this paragraph is about, and then we will go back and number the items as they occurred. Sorry about my blurriness. Hopefully this focus will help here. All right, so we're just going to read it once. For Tim's 13th birthday, he received $150 in cash from his mom. His dad took him to the bank to open a savings account. Tim gave the cash to the banker to deposit into the account. The banker credited Tim's new account $150 and gave Tim a receipt. 1 week later, Tim deposited another $25 that he had earned as allowance. The next month, Tim's dad gave him permission to withdraw $35 to buy a new video game. Tim's dad explained that the bank would charge a $5 fee for each withdrawal from the savings account, and that each withdrawal and charge results in a debit to the account. All right, so now we know we're talking about Tim and his birthday gift and how he deals with his money at the bank. So now let's reread it and number the order of events that occurred. So for Tim's 13th birthday, he received $150 in cash from his mom. So that's event 1, receiving $150 in cash. His dad took him to the bank to open a savings account. So that's event 2, opening a savings account. Tim gave the cash to the banker to deposit into the account. So step 3, he deposited into the account by giving the cash to the banker. Sometimes we might not know what these words mean, such as deposit. Maybe you haven't been to a bank before. Maybe you have never made a deposit. This is where you need to use those context clues that we talk about in Comm Arts. If he is going to the bank and giving the cash to the banker to deposit into the account, what do you think that means? Does that mean that the banker's giving him money, or that he's asking the banker to put the money into his bank account? So you have to use these context clues and what's going on there to decide, is this money getting added to his account if we deposit it, or is it getting subtracted and taken out of his account, indicated by a negative number? So the next item, the banker credited Tim's new account $150. So that's event 4, accrediting $150. So again, think about that context. Tim gave the money to the banker. The next thing she did was credit his account $150, and she gave Tim a receipt. She didn't give him cash, she gave him a receipt, which we get at the stores to see what we bought or what we paid or what transactions we've done. 1 week later, Tim deposited another $25. So action 5, again we're depositing $25 that he had earned as allowance. So think about what you do with your money. Make the connection that up here he gave the cash to deposit. So here he probably had to take this $25 and give it to the banker to deposit in his account. And it's his allowance that he earned, so it's money that he has. The next month, Tim's dad gave him permission to withdraw $35. So withdrawing $35 to buy a new video game. So think about what withdrawal might mean. What would he need to do if he wanted to buy something? So Tim's dad explained that the bank would charge a $5 fee. So that's event 6. The bank is charging him a fee. So again, think of that context. Are fees usually a good thing or a bad thing? If I have to go and to drop my dog off at the border and there's a $5 fee for picking her up late, that's a bad thing. If I go to pay my taxes and there's a fee for turning them in late, that's a bad thing. So again, think of that context and about other places you've heard those words. Charge a $5 fee for each withdrawal from the savings account. So this is a withdrawal from the savings account, and that each withdrawal and charge results in a debit to the account. So withdrawal and debit seem to be similar. So that is step 7, taking that $35 out. All right. Okay, so I've just moved the paragraph that we were reading from our blue sheet to this, and I'm going to ask you some questions that I want you to think about and kind of just answer to yourself. So in step 1, Tim receives $150 for his birthday. Do you think that this would be a positive or negative number for Tim's money, and be able to explain why? This would be a positive integer that we would describe here. First of all, it's a good thing that he's getting money for his birthday, and he has the money, so his amount increases. So he has it, it's $150 plus $150. So how much money is in the account when Tim opened it? So before he opened it, how much money did he have? He had $0, which means, what does that represent in this situation? It means that he didn't have any money in his account. He didn't owe the bank any money, so he wasn't in debt, but he didn't have any money either. So 0 just meant that he had no money in the bank. He doesn't owe any money, but he doesn't have any money either. The $150 that Tim gives the banker is called a deposit. A deposit is the act of putting money into a bank account. This is a positive thing, and you should have guessed that from the context when he had to give the money to the banker. To show the amount of money in Tim's savings account, would this deposit be located to the left or the right of 0 on the number line? Since it's a positive number, it would definitely be to the right of 0. You should visualize that 0 to the left, and then 150 is bigger than 0, so it's to the right. The bank credited the account $150. A credit is when money is deposited into an account. The account increases in value. So how would you represent a credit of $150 as an integer? Explain. Hopefully you said you would use plus 150 or just the number 150 because it's an increase in value. Tim then makes another deposit of $25. So would this be a positive or negative number for Tim's saving account? And how would you, I think that should say, put it on a number line? So again, since it's a deposit, he's placing it in his bank account, it would be a positive integer, 25. So putting it on the number line means that it would be to the right of 0. It's greater than 0. The bank creates a debt of $5 for a debit. I'm sorry. The bank creates a debit of $5 for any withdrawal. What do you think the word debit means in this situation? In this situation, it means that you are subtracting it or taking it out. The difference between a credit card and a debit card is that a debit card immediately takes it out of your account. So if you use a debit card, it's connected to your bank account and the money you have in the bank, and then when you say, okay, give here's my debit card, it immediately subtracts it from your bank account. A credit card is a little different where you charge the money, then they send you a bill and they say you owe this much money and you have to pay it then. So they're a little bit different in how they work. But a debit in this case would be a negative amount. It's being withdrawn or subtracted from your account. So a debit means money paid out of an account. It is the opposite of a credit. Our debits represents as positive or negative numbers on the number line for the amount of money in a savings account. They would be negative numbers. The bank charges a $5 service fee for any withdrawal on a savings account. A charge, also called a fee, is the amount of money a person has to pay for something. Can you name a situation where you would have to pay a charge? Lots of charges out there, unfortunately. A lot of places where you have to pay money. It's a charge in order to go to Sky Zone and jump on the trampolines. There's a charge for renting bowling shoes. There's a fee for going to different events at Paradise Park or hitting balls in a batting cage. So any place that charges you money is a fee or a charge. So how would we represent a charge of $5 for Tim's savings account on the number line? This would be a negative number because it's a charge or something you have to pay. So they would subtract that $5 from his account, and his account would decrease in the value by $5. Tim withdrew $35 from his account. Based on the story problem, what is the meaning of the term withdraw? Remember that he was withdrawing that money from his savings account to buy a new video game. So what would that mean if he needed to withdraw to buy something? To withdraw money is to take money out of an account. How would you represent the $35 for the video game as an integer for Tim's savings account? Hopefully you said it would be a negative integer, negative $35, because we're taking it out or subtracting it from his amount. Now on your worksheets, you are going to fill in the integer that represents each situation and model the integer on a number line using an appropriate scale, the number that you are going to skip count on your tick marks. So you'll write the integer that represents the fact that he opened the bank account with $0 and draw where 0 would be on a number line. Then what integer would represent making a $150 deposit, and draw the number line. When you are finished with your integers and your number lines, please come back to the video to check your work. Actually, go to video 3, please.